Virgo, the secret the universe will reveal in your life in May 2026. There's something Virgo does that almost no one notices. It's not an organization, it's not an analysis, it's not even the self-criticism that everyone mentions when talking about this sign. It's something more subtle, deeper, and much harder to name. Virgo learns very early on to anticipate, not the future, that's for other signs. It anticipates flaws, risks, points where something might fall apart. And then it builds systems, exit routes, plans B, C, D, not because you're afraid, but because for Virgo, preparing is the only way to feel safe in a world it knows is unpredictable. And then May 2026 arrives, and the universe, with almost ironic precision, will do exactly what Virgo spent years trying to avoid. It will arrive from where she wasn't looking. I'm not talking about calamity. It's not about everything collapsing. It's about something much more specific and therefore much harder to ignore. It's about the universe identifying with disconcerting clarity exactly which protection system Virgo has built so well that she can no longer distinguish between the armor and the skin, and then starting to loosen the screws one by one with a calmness that seems cruel but is deep down the opposite. Most people who watch this video will come here expecting predictions, dates, trends, what will happen at work, in love, in health, and that will appear because May has very specific astrological movements for Virgo, and they deserve to be named carefully. But if you only focus on the predictions, you'll miss what this month really came to do. Because what the universe will unveil in the life of Virgo in May 2026 is not a circumstance, it's a truth. And this truth will arrive wrapped in something that seems like a problem, but which, if you know how to recognize it, is the greatest gift this sign has received in a long time. Let me tell you how it works on the inside. Virgo has a relationship with control that is different from what most people imagine. It's not arrogance, it's not stubbornness. It is in fact a highly sophisticated form of care. Care for everything, for others, for processes, for results. Care that comes from a very real place. Virgo knows in a way that goes beyond the rational that details matter. That what is not seen, reviewed, adjusted, can become the point of failure for everything. But here's what's rarely said about it. This care comes at a cost, and the cost doesn't show in the results, which are usually impeccable. It appears inside, in a wariness that Virgo can't quite explain, in a feeling that, no matter how much you do, it's never enough, in a silent loop of revision that never ends because there's always something that could be better, more precise, more complete. This is not a character flaw, it is the architecture of a sign that was built to perceive what others do not perceive. But when this perception has nowhere to rest, when Virgo's inner laboratory never closes, never takes a day off, it begins to turn inward, and Virgo becomes the very object of analysis, the very guinea pig in the never-ending experiment. Mercury, the ruler of Virgo, will be transiting through a configuration in May 2026 that will directly affect this mechanism. And it will do so in a very specific way, by creating noise, not the kind of noise you ignore, the kind that appears precisely in the communication channels that Virgo considers most reliable. Internal reasoning, the logic of processes, the voice that says, "I know what I'm doing." This noise won't bring Virgo down, it will make her question. And for a sign that uses the certainty of its own method as a basis for emotional security, questioning the method is questioning the ground beneath its feet. That's exactly where May starts to get interesting, because when the ground of Virgo trembles, not the external ground, but the internal one, something that was hidden beneath begins to emerge. And what emerges is not the chaos that Virgo always feared encountering if she stopped controlling. What emerges is something far more unsettling than chaos. It's a clarity she had never been able to access precisely because she was always too busy building systems to protect what she thought needed protecting. And this clarity will demand something from Virgo that no agenda, no plan, no revision can offer. It will require her to trust, not your systems, herself. It was while searching for answers to this question that I found this digital book, The Divine Path That Guides Your Zodiac Sign Towards a Life of Purpose. not as a list of recipes or a behavioral guide, but as a mirror of what Virgo already carries within and hasn't yet managed to name. The book starts precisely from this point, the moment when Virgo realizes that the clarity they so desperately sought in external processes was always available within, and that the first step to accessing it is to stop correcting themselves long enough to listen to themselves. You are in this space now, still processing, still with that feeling that something you believed about yourself was being gently dismantled. This discomfort you are feeling now is not a sign that you are lost. It is a sign that you are getting closer to something real. And it is precisely in this state, not later, not when you are calmer, that this material makes the most sense. The link is in the first pinned comment, but be aware, this content may be taken down. Click now and download your copy. And before we continue, leave a comment below. When was the last time you felt like you were preparing for something, but deep down you knew you were protecting yourself from feeling it? I want to read what you have to say about it. There's a moment in May that I need you to understand above all else. It's not the beginning of the month, it's not the end. It's a specific point in the middle of the month where Virgo will face a choice that she won't recognize as a choice, because it will arrive disguised as a problem. It could be a work situation that doesn't work out as it should, a conversation that goes in a different direction than Virgo expected, a decision that needs to be made with incomplete information and that for Virgo is almost unbearable. Not because she is inflexible, but because Virgo knows better than any other sign what happens when a decision is made without sufficient data. She has already calculated the consequences. She has already seen the scenarios. She already knows what could go wrong. And that's exactly why this moment is going to be so difficult. Because the universe is going to put Virgo in a position where the only way out is to act without having all the pieces. It will ask her to use not what she knows, but what she feels. This is not weakness. It is in fact the most advanced skill that Virgo can develop. But she rarely reaches this point by choice. She gets there because the universe closes off other avenues. And in May 2026, the universe will close. But closing is not the same as blocking. Closing is redirecting. It's the universe saying, with a clarity that Virgo, of all the signs, has the capacity to recognize when it stops resisting, this is not the way. Not because you are incapable of following it, but because there is another way and it demands something from you that this one will never demand. Virgo will feel this closure before understanding it, and will spend some energy trying to find the loophole, the angle, the way to maintain control within a situation that was designed precisely so that control doesn't work. This is the pedagogy of May, and it is precise. What I just described, that moment when Virgo realizes they don't have all the pieces and need to act anyway, is exactly the terrain that the divine path that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose maps with surprising precision. Not because the book tells you what to do, but because it helps you recognize what you already know, that deep intelligence that Virgo possesses, buried beneath layers of analysis and self-correction. There's a discernment in Virgo that goes far beyond the rational, and this book was created so that you can learn how to access it, especially in moments when method isn't enough. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. Now I'm going to tell you something about Virgo that is rarely said up front. Virgo is not afraid of work. It's not afraid of responsibility. It's not afraid of difficulty. In fact, difficulty is one of the few things Virgo knows exactly how to face. What Virgo truly fears, what it protects with the entire architecture of its systems, its routines, its lists, is the possibility of proving itself insufficient, not in the eyes of others, in the eyes of itself. This is the wound that will resurface in May 2026, and she will play it not because the universe is cruel, but because Virgo is at a point in her cycle where continuing to avoid this encounter has a greater cost than doing it. The cost of continuing is not stagnation. Virgo always finds a way to move forward. The cost is the ever-increasing distance between who she is inside and who she presents to the world. And this distance, when it reaches a certain point, begins to hurt in a way that no to-do list can solve. The secret that the universe will unveil in Virgo's life in May isn't about what will happen to her. It's about what she will finally see in herself when she stops focusing only on what needs fixing. Virgo possesses a gift that she rarely recognizes as such because it's wrapped in the same package as her greatest critic. The ability to perceive what is wrong is exactly the same as the ability to perceive what is extraordinary. The same eye that finds the flaw finds the beauty that no one else sees. But Virgo has trained this eye to function almost exclusively in critical mode. And in May, the universe will gently but firmly begin to calibrate that lens. This recalibration that the universe is preparing for Virgo, this shift in perspective from the inside out, from criticism to recognition, is one of the central themes of the divine path that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose. The book doesn't promise to make the process easier. It promises to help you understand what the process is asking of you. And for Virgo, who needs to understand before trusting, this understanding is what makes surrender possible. Not a surrender of defeat, a surrender of arrival. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. Have you ever stopped to think about how much Virgo invests in plans that never get used? It's not inefficient, it's protection. The plan itself, the act of building it, of anticipating scenarios, of having the answer ready, is what creates security, not the result of the plan, the process. And this works for a long time, until May 2026 arrives and presents a situation to which none of the plans Virgo has built directly apply. Not because she wasn't careful enough, but because what the universe is bringing in May is something that couldn't have been anticipated, because it was waiting for Virgo to reach a specific place within herself before revealing herself. And that place isn't defined by competence, it's defined by openness. There is an astrological configuration in May that creates a window of opportunity for Virgo. Not a window of opportunity in the conventional sense. It's not about a new job, a new relationship, or the start of a project. It's a window of perception, a moment when the veil between what Virgo rationally knows and what she deeply feels becomes thinner. And what passes through that veil when she's not defending the boundary is information about herself that would completely change how she makes decisions if she knows how to receive it. The big question for Virgo in May isn't what will happen, it's whether she'll be available enough to receive what's being offered. The openness that May will demand of Virgo, the ability to receive what is being offered without filtering everything through the sieve of logic, is precisely the muscle that the divine path that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose helps to strengthen, not through techniques but through recognition, which is what Virgo truly needs to see clearly that what the universe offers is not a threat but expansion. And trusting doesn't mean abandoning discernment, it means using it in a more complete way. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. There's a decision that May will put before Virgo, and it will seem small. It will seem like a practical, everyday thing, almost irrelevant, the kind of thing Virgo usually resolves quickly and moves on from. But beneath this seemingly common decision, there will be a layer that only Virgo will feel because only she has the sensitivity to perceive what is truly being asked. The decision involves letting go of something, not necessarily a person, a situation, a job. It could be any of those or none of them. What needs to be let go of is a belief about what Virgo needs to be to deserve what they want, a narrative they've carried for a long time about what it means to be enough, a demand they impose on themselves so silently that they no longer recognize it as a demand. It simply seems like reality. And the universe, with the patience of someone who is in no hurry but knows the exact time to act, will create the conditions in May for Virgo to see this belief clearly enough to make a choice, to continue carrying it, or to begin to let it go. Neither option is simple, but only one of them will take Virgo to where she, deep down, wants to go. The choice that May presents to Virgo, releasing an old narrative about what she needs to be to deserve, is the kind of inner work that doesn't happen overnight. It's a process, and the divine path that guides your zodiac sign to a life of purpose was built to accompany exactly that process, not as a self-help manual, but as a compass, so that Virgo can, page by page, recognize what she already knows about herself but hadn't yet been able to put into words, and gradually learn to trust not in what she has built, but in who she is. The link is in the first pinned comment. The last copies are running out. Click now and begin your journey toward the clarity and genius you deserve. On the other side of May, Virgo will be different, not radically different. The Virgin doesn't change explosively. She transforms from the inside out, in layers, in a process that only those with a very attentive eye can perceive from the outside. But inside, the change will be clear. She will have gone through a month in which she was asked by the universe, by circumstances, by life itself, to operate without having all the answers. And you will have discovered that she succeeded. Not perfectly, with functional imperfection, with tolerated uncertainty, with decisions made based on something beyond what she can calculate. And this discovery, small, silent, almost invisible to outsiders, will change what is possible for Virgo from now on, because Virgo's limit was never competence. It was the permission she gave herself or didn't give herself to trust that who she is, without all the armor, is already more than enough. May 2026 will not bring Virgo the perfect life she envisioned on her lists. It will bring something that in time she will recognize as far better than that, a version of herself that no longer needs perfection to feel whole. Virgo's inner laboratory will continue to function, the analysis will continue, the attention to detail will continue, because these are gifts and gifts don't disappear with transformation, but the window will be open, and the air that enters will change the quality of everything produced within. The secret that the universe will unveil in Virgo's life in May 2026 isn't about what's coming. It's about what you'll finally have space to hold on to. And what we'll hold on to is exactly what Virgo has always been, before systems, before plans, before any armor. Something precise, something sensitive, something that sees the world with a clarity bordering on the impossible. And that, when it learns to see itself with that same clarity, becomes irresistible, even to itself. May is coming, and he knows exactly what he's doing. And Virgo, when you stop trying to understand before you feel, will also know. Because deep down I always knew. The difference is that now the universe will ensure she can no longer pretend she doesn't know.